Thank you for putting up with your new song leader.
Yes, thank you, Cynthia. I gotta say, I don't know if in ministerial school they're gonna teach me how to sing as well. So, hopefully that'll, so thank you for taking over that, right? Well, it's wonderful to see you all here today. I am Dave, and I'll be your host this morning. Our online host is Gideon? Yes? Yes, it is. Our online host is Gideon. Thank you very much. That's right. Oh, we're in a good mood today. All right. Well, why don't we join me in reading our mission and vision statements? Our mission. We are building a vibrant community, cultivating a garden of spiritual growth, honoring vulnerability, creating a safe place of comfort and peace where all are welcome and accepted. And our vision. Genesis is a bright beacon with an unshakable heart of love, accepting all, a home for the soul where we each creatively express our spiritual brilliance. All right, let's go on to our announcements and see what we got going on at Genesis. Need extra support, celebrating a milestone, or facing a loss? Let Genesis Garden of Love be your voice. With your permission, will you share your news with the community? Prefer more private touch? Our caring practitioners can start a heartfelt prayer for you, and we would love to do that. You can reach out at info@genesiscsl.org or see a practitioner. Find one, or you can just look for the cool stoles. Thank you for that. There. After service. All right. All right, Reverend James is offering the next fall class, Essential Harness Homes. Woohoo, there we go, that's right. Let's bring it up here. Get the energy going, I like it. This class is a 10-week online course beginning on September 11th and running through November 20th, based on the book Essential Earnest Homes, that's well named, by Jesse Jennings, and optionally The Science of Mind by Holmes himself. The course offers a deep exploration of Holmes' wisdom, highlighting his introspective and visionary writings. Participants will learn to apply his teachings to personal and global challenges, emphasizing the power of human choice and timeless relevance of his insights. Yes, the cost is $295 if you register before September 1st and $325 afterwards. So sign up quick. Spiritual Social Justice sign-up and information is at the welcome table. Take a few minutes to check that out if you have not already. And last but not least, we do book studies from 12 to 1 after services. Feel free to drop in whenever you want. It's a great time. All right, is anyone here for the first time? I don't see. We do have ones for the first time. You know what? Let's just get to that right away. Okay, hold on just one second. Take on here. Yes, I do want to introduce so we have new musical guests here today, and we'll listen to them later, and I want to just have a quick bio to introduce them because they're new. Yeah, thank you for that. All right. So we have Steve and Kristi. Is that Nebel or Nebel? Nebel, thank you for that, because I just wanted to make sure, because I got that correct there. So Kristi and Steve Nebel. So if you haven't said hi to them already, please give a good chance to say hi to them. I'm grateful that you all are here today with us. So they've lived in Alaska, traveled to Western Canada, toured across the U.S., and spent the better part of a year in the U.K. playing a blend of songs that exceeds the sum of their two parts. Nice. For whoever they could get to listen. Steve draws his wealth of inspiration, writing songs from the people and issues of the times, raising a voice against injustice from time to time, not shying from knife-edge observations about the environmental changes surrounding all of us. Wow, that's exciting. Well, I want to just hear you right now, but we got to do more of this stuff right now. All right, well, I just said let's give a chance to meet and greet, so let's do it. Let's all meet and greet each other and say hi to our guests.
I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I breathe and turn within. I breathe and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I pray and turn within. I pray and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I pray and turn within. I pray and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I sing and turn within. I sing and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's presence. I sing and turn within. I sing and turn within. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I open up my heart and feel God's love. I open up my heart and feel God's love.
I just want to say, Cynthia, that was beautiful. Thank you so much for bringing up and leading that. Today's reading comes from the class that we just finished up from The Mental Equivalent by Emmett Fox. It's a fantastic reading, and if you want to engage in more of these readings and be a part of the energy and part of this process, you know, we introduced a new class this fall, and so I just want to give you a little bit of the good stuff that you'll get to be a part of, and so I just love this part, love this reading. So maintaining the mental equivalent. Remember this: the door of the soul opens inward. If you will remember this, it will save you years of waiting for demonstration. Write it in your notebook, the one you carry in your pocket. Not the notebook keep locked in your desk, or better still, write it on a card and place it on your drawer. The door of the soul opens inward. Pray to God you remember the truth every time you turn to God in prayer. You know what it means when a door opens inward. The harder you push against it, the tighter you close it. When you relax and draw back, you give it a chance to open. In public buildings, the doors open outward. The law insists upon this because when crowds are panic-stricken, they push. And if the door opens inward, the people would imprison themselves. The door of the soul opens inward. This is the law. Relax mentally. Draw away from your problems spiritually, and the action of God will open the door for you, and you will be free. So taking that in, taking those words in, let's just take a moment and go to prayer. So we just relax in, Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. And just take a deep breath. Take a deep breath inward. Just breathing in. Just breathing in that breath of life. Breathing in that breath of energy. Breathing in that breath of spirit. Breathing that breath of God itself. I just recognize that presence. I recognize that breath. I recognize that inward look at ourselves. We are all part of that divine presence. We are all part of that oneness. We are all part of that openness and expression that is God ourselves. It is within inside each and every single one of us. It is the spirit and it is the truth of our being. And when we relax into that, when we relax into ourselves, relax into the presence of who we are, looking within, listening within to the spirit that is us, we expand ourselves, we expand our consciousness, we expand who we are because we realize the presence of that spirit within. We realize that presence of who we are, and we let the world expand in our love, our gratitude, our compassion. And so just knowing this energy, just knowing this mental equivalent that I have within myself and we can have within ourselves, that all things are possible. All things are possible with God. All things are possible with consciousness. All things are possible when we just take that moment and just let us, who we are, expand out. I just give great thanks. I give great thanks for it all. And so with that thanks, I just release it into that great law, the great spirit that only says yes. I call it good. I call it God. And so it is. And so with that, I would love to introduce our musical guest to the stage, Kristi and Steve Nebel. Thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause for being here today.
This is a song about our neighborhood in Tacoma.
People's parks all filled up with tents from the folks from the street, with their lives in a cart, not sure where I should start, as I hear the winter wind weep. She told me she was a lost one, no children or husband to save. She told me her wings were broken, or that was the story she gave. I hear the poverty wind blow through the streets of our town. The poverty wind tells a story of shame as you watch it knock people down. You'll hear the poverty wind as it clatters along down our street. The mentally broken march through the cold. You'll hear the pain in their speech. Sometimes I hear their voices blow through my head in the night. of our town. Poverty wind tells a story of shame as you watch it knock people down. There are other parts of the city where you never see anyone poor. They call up the city to have them removed from whatever they see from their door. The poverty wind blows them here, where all working men's life starts to fade. Shopping carts filled with lights blow through our streets like poverty out on parade. I hear the poverty wind blow through the streets of our town. Poverty wind tells a story of shame as you watch it knock people down. None of us knew where they came from. They blew here on a poverty wind. Can't tell where it began, just a dark river bend upstream from the poverty wind. I hear the poverty wind blow through the streets of our town. Poverty wind tells a story of shame as you watch it knock people down. I forgot to take off my mask.
Oh, good morning. Happy Sunday. It's good to see everybody here. Today, our lesson is Trauma 101, and so I think the poverty wind is applicable to this. Before I start with our lesson, I want to talk about a promising news story. So, as you guys probably know, the Riverton Park United Methodist Church has become the promised land for a bunch of people, former Venezuelans. And it's become, at this point, they're not taking any more people, but King County and some other Tequila SeaTac are trying to accommodate some of the people coming from Venezuela. It turns out about 260,000 Venezuelans per year are trying to move to the U.S. And this is actually a fraction of the number who've emigrated. 7.7 million Venezuelans have left the country in recent years. Luckily, 6.1 million of them have found locations nearby Venezuela in Colombia and Panama and places like that. But that leaves 1.6 million looking for other places. They recently had an election in Panama, and the opposition party, in exit polls, they found about 2/3 of the people voted for the opposition party. Only 1/3, oh, that's funny. It is that time. Time to be here. So 1/3 voted for the Maduro, the I guess still temporarily, we hope, leader of Venezuela. It turns out so it's nice that the opposition party has a lot of support, because Chavez and Maduro, as much as they might have had good intentions in their heart, they really crashed the economy and made it disastrous for people, and seem to be unwilling to give up these unworkable policies. But there's international pressure. Virtually all the Latin American neighbors are saying, come on, let the opposition come in. The US and Panama, and I think other countries, are offering Maduro and his fellow rulers amnesty and non-extradition if they'll just move out. And so the pressure is gaining on them. So Venezuela, I think, is a place I'm holding in my prayers, and I think we can all hold in our prayers, because if Venezuela just gets rid of the the ideas that aren't working, that have destroyed the economy, there'll be the opportunity for those 7.7 million people to go back home and support and build a country. You know, when I was a kid, Venezuela was the most prosperous country in Latin America. It was an exemplar, and not paying attention, I think, has ruined it. But, well, temporarily, it has the opportunity for a wonderful recovery. You know, this is what happens when moths turn into, or caterpillars turn into butterflies. First they go into the chrysalis, and then inside the chrysalis they turn into goo. This is the goo part for Venezuela. And then they'll come out a butterfly at the end. But in order to be a butterfly, you have to go through the goo stage. On Thursday, August 15th, so this Thursday, there's a religious holiday, the Assumption of Mary. And this is when Mother Mary, according to tradition, is bodily assumed and moves into heaven. The important part about this isn't what happened to somebody who lived 2,000 years ago, but it's the idea that there is one of our practices in that Ernest Holmes advocates for Science of Mind is practicing the presence, feeling the presence of spirit in and around us. And as it became more and more of a tradition, Christianity tended to be very masculine, with all male gods, all male angels. And so having Mary be in heaven, at the throne of heaven, is a way to incorporate more feminine energies, so that when you practice the presence of God, there's a feminine aspect and a mother aspect. It's lovely to be able to have, when you're practicing the presence, you can feel into somebody who knows you intimately, has your back, wishes the best for you, and has the power to help you out no matter what your circumstance is. And this is the power of the presence, and this is what Mary brings us, the feminine side of that. So now we'll talk about Trauma 101. We've got one of the things, actually I have to jump into before that. I've done surveys at various churches and found in the surveys that when people first start attending church, there are some people who attend church from childhood and never stop. Other times people start attending church because they move to a new location and they want to find community. But most of the people who start attending church do it because there's some kind of trauma going on. They have some divorce or some illness or something's going on in their life where they need to find a community to support them. And churches are reliable ways to get positive support from a community. And so this is a reason Trauma 101 is important. When we get new people in church, there's a high possibility that they've been recently involved in a trauma. And it's nice to be able to treat them accordingly. And it turns out it's true that most of us have some, what do we call it, predilection to trauma. Professor Sarah Dolan of Baylor University says, addiction is trying to feel okay in a world where you don't naturally feel okay. And so you move from a predisposition for addiction or for trauma into a disposition. The disposition comes from trauma. You know, what could lead to a predisposition, it could be your personality, it could be anxiety, it could be childhood trauma. And there's a test, an online test you can take for childhood trauma to see how much trauma was in your childhood. I took it too many times this week. I can advise you, the test is called ACEs, and if you want to take it, the best thing to do is to Google ACEs test NPR. Because most of the people who offer the test for free, but they only give you the results if you pay. So that doesn't seem... Yeah, but anyway, you can see that the three aspects of childhood trauma. So we live in two worlds. We walk in two worlds. We walk in the world of the divine and the world of the human. And our human selves experience predispositions to trauma. And childhood traumas can involve abuse in all kinds of forms, neglect, having to bring up yourself, and dysfunction, household dysfunction. In the case of my childhood, I lost my dad right on my third birthday. And my mom brought us up as a single mom, and we had a pretty chaotic household, but her love for us and her family's love for her enabled us to have the support to grow up, not as traumatized as one could have thought, given the other aspects. But not everybody is lucky enough to have, parents who are able to pull it together, or who have the support of their family structures, or who also, we had, I talk about my mom bringing us up atheist. She was brought up United Church of Canada, but she didn't like it, because she had, this is actually something, we talk about practicing the presence and leaning into God, and this is helpful if you have a good God, if God has your back, if God is loving, if God is supportive. The kind of God that she had in her particular United Church of Canada, and I hope this isn't typical of that church, was a God who was very picky about what she did and was always finding fault with her, and was ready to punish her and get angry and fly off the collar at the least little thing, and just really didn't want her to be herself. And so this was not a God she wanted to introduce her children to. So we went to an atheist church, where we got the community. It was a Unitarian Universalist church, but the minister specifically didn't believe in God and talked about how that wasn't a real thing. It turns out I am the white sheep of the family. My three brothers grew up as atheists. And I remember one coming to me dismayed one day because my mom discovered a 12-step program and started believing in God, a God that had her back and could support her. And my brothers were like, "She believes in God." And I said, "Cool, so do I." And they're like, "What? No, you don't." It took them several years, but they're used to it by now. And this shows you have, if you hold it in mind, if you picture God, if you think that God is going to be snarky and persnickety and fly off the handle with rages whenever you do something slightly wrong, that's the kind of God you're going to attract in your life, and that's bad for you. And I welcome you to lean into the kind of God, the God of your dreams, the God of, let's support us. It's interesting, I don't often talk about God like this because I found for the power of prayer and for the power of my life, the God, that I am that which I seek. There is one mind, and that is God's mind, and that is my mind. The God that is me is the one that's most powerful for prayer. But sometimes if you're in the midst of addiction or trauma and you really feel powerless, I think, the second of the 12 steps is admitting your powerlessness and then finding a God, finding something outside of yourself that you can give over and make sure that God will have your back and will take care of you and will, not do it for you, but, we treat and move our feet. We pray, we get God's support, and we do everything we can ourselves. And this is the way we work out of trauma, and this is the way we support people. So So when we have people in trauma, even though what Ernest Holmes says, we are not so cold-blooded as to say to a person with pain that there is no such thing as pain. That is not our idea or purpose. We admit the fact. It is quite a different thing to admit its necessity. So Ernest Holmes recognizes that although the technique for dealing with pain is to notice that in eternity, the pain doesn't really exist. It's just a sensation. That in eternity, we are whole, perfect, and complete. But if somebody else is in pain, we don't want to say, oh, that doesn't really exist. Sometimes it works. Many years ago, I was in extreme pain, for extreme chronic pain, and the instructor of a course I was in told me that it wasn't real. And I was defiant, and I used his technique just to demonstrate that he was wrong. And it was very hard to demonstrate it because the pain was very apparent. But after a difficult night, I found myself with the pain vastly decreased, and my inflammation had gone down. I was feeling much better when I was able to notice that. But so that's sort of an odd story. But the techniques that we use to cure ourselves are not necessarily the techniques that we apply with compassion to people who are moving into the church looking for community. We want the tools to match the consciousness of whoever we've got. So in trauma, we know people come in with, wow, my phone is very clear about wanting to get my attention. It's got my attention. Powering it off will help that. It's true. I can disempower the phone. So trauma affects us. If you have had trauma because of traumatic experiences, because sometimes it's your personality. Some personalities have predilections towards being traumatized. Often people feel more anxiety. It's just their nature to feel more anxiety. Sometimes it's the events in people's lives, and you get a bunch of these working together. And what really helps to build us, helps to turn post-traumatic stress disorder into post-traumatic growth is the community we can bring. And so people, we often find new people in church, or any of us, when we get hit with traumatic situations, it really helps to have the community to support us. There's also spirituality and trauma. So many people, like my poor mother, experience church that doesn't accept them the way they are. You know, we hear LGBTQ plus people are often leaving their birth churches because they're not accepting them. You know, my mother, I'm not sure what it was, maybe they just didn't like independent women in Toronto in 1944. And so people will come in and be nervous about churches, and this also provides us an opportunity to welcome that and to listen to what their experience is and what kind of support is going to be helpful for them. One of the things I know sometimes we do, sometimes people come in and don't like to be touched. We actually used to have a young man who was here often, whose name I forget, who was not very happy about being touched. And you know, we often use namaste hands to help keep that in line. So I found myself recently in a medical trauma is something I think we all have had experience with, and dental trauma was what happened to me earlier this week. One of my crowns had leaked, and so the tooth that was holding it had a little decay, and so I had to have the crown removed and the tooth fixed and put it back on, which is a straightforward procedure. But as I sat in the dental chair, I got a full-fledged panic attack, and all I wanted to do was get up and run out of the room. Luckily, I had the ability not to do that, and what I did, some of this stuff actually works for us. These techniques that, as I noticed the panic come in, I welcomed it. Instead of fighting it, instead of fleeing from it, I welcomed the panic, and I sort of embraced it. And I remember the 3 steps of self-compassion. First was kindness, and so I was kind to the panic. And mindfulness, let's be in the moment. So the panic was worried. It wasn't worried. I was asking the panic, what's going on now that you're about to be afraid of? And it's like, it's this whole dental procedure. You're going to be stuck in the chair for hours, and they're going to do stuff in your mouth. I was like, okay, but how about right now? Right now we're sitting in a comfy chair, and we got these friendly hygienists and dentists here. So nothing's going on now. And panic was like, okay, I can see that. Like, so I'll be right here with you. And thank you for alerting me that there could be issues, and we'll make sure we're safe. I'm so glad you're keeping us safe. I'm going to stay here with you so we can stay safe. And so me and the panic stayed there, and the panic relaxed a great deal. I think had a nap or something because it was gone a lot of the time. Maybe the nitrous. I know, I did think about asking for nitrous. It does wonders for panic. But instead, I just sat there happy with my panic and had a successful dental experience. It was very pleasant. It's also nice because I got to know my inner child, my wounded inner child, who didn't enjoy going to the dentist a little better. And I think this is something when trauma happens, we can notice there's parts of us, or post-traumatic stress disorder. There are parts of us that have been traumatized and will come up and try to take over our bodies. And in fact, those parts of trauma often have the ability to take over our bodies. That's the way our fight and flight system works. The way we managed to survive as a species over the year is to let our panic take over so we can run. And it's just not always appropriate. That's how I managed to talk panic into letting me stay in the dentist chair. So what I want to do, I want to say the affirmation, and I want to do a heart meditation right now. So let's say this 3 times together. This is sort of a mouthful. I am gentle with myself and the world, knowing we are all healing together. I am gentle with myself and the world, knowing we are all healing together. One more time. I am gentle with myself and the world, knowing we are all healing together. And that's how to best heal, is to be gentle with ourselves and to have our community around us. So I'm going to ask you to, let's breathe into our hearts. And let's bring our awareness to our hearts. You can touch it with your hands if you like. And just let's have the feeling of gratitude, of love in our hearts. And an easy way to get that is to think of a beloved pet or family member who you feel that gratitude or love for their existence in your life. And as you notice that gratitude coming into your heart, see how it builds and it fills your heart, and it overflows from the heart and fills the whole body. And as we feel this gratitude, this love fill our bodies, let's just allow ourselves to relax and lean back into it. To feel us being supported by it. To notice that the love interpenetrates our every cell. It interpenetrates our every thought. It surrounds us. It enfolds us. This love is our very nature. And now we can feel it extending beyond our body, and it fills the room. And now we can feel everybody in the room, in fact, everybody who's watching this, wherever you are, whenever you are, you can feel that love, because love exists in eternity. It exists outside of space and time. And we are always connected to it. We can always bring back this connection by breathing into our hearts. And now we just rest in that. And now, in our circle of love, let us place in the middle our wounded child. Any part of us that feels wounded, neglected, abused, abandoned from our past. It still lives within us. And it can still heal. It can still be part of our community. And we surround all our inner children of us, of everybody in our congregation, everybody seeing and hearing this. We surround us and we see our inner children enfolded in love, surrounded by abundance, embraced by a God who loves them, embraced by a future self who knows that it's all going to turn out okay, embraced by us and our community, and healed. We see them whole, perfect, and complete. We see our inner children able to laugh and play and love and be loved. And now as our inner children join the outside of the circle, we invite the rest of the world into the inside of the circle. The traumatized people, the traumatized communities. And we know we've got this. We have all the support we need. We have all the love we need. and we see the world, we see our world loved, loving, connected, healing. We know that in order for our world to become a butterfly, it has to turn from a caterpillar into a chrysalis full of goo. But we energize this goo. And we see us moving towards our perfect destiny. We see people who care for one another. We see people who are trying their best. We see people who are setting up systems that will empower others. And more than anything, we see the power of love, the power of connection, the power of empowerment, healing, vitalizing, rejuvenating our planet and all the people in our orbit. And then once again, we allow ourselves to lean back and experience that love, that infinite love, that ocean of love, that wave of love and oneness, that connection we have to one another, to God, to that powerful presence. And to the goddess. And then slowly we bring our attention back into the room, breathing again deeply into our hearts. And then whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. So, it's easy for any of us to be wounded. But we can take that predisposition towards being traumatized and turn it into a disposition to post-traumatic growth. We can help others by being gentle with them, by being kind to them, by being compassionate to them, and be compassionate to yourselves. I have a feeling my dental experience would not have ended so well had I fought back the panic, because the panic has the ability to, the amygdala can take over your entire brain and body. And I was lucky it didn't. It was giving me a very clear message. And so we can do this by welcoming our inner child. We have this power. Yet Ernest Holmes says that God is not merely principle. God is not just law, but God is very personal and engages with our feelings. I don't think he used the word had our backs, but that's the feeling I get when I read Ernest, is that he had a divine presence which has our backs, and this was what he could convey to others. So, when you, if you find yourself with somebody and they're behaving sort of skittish or standoffish, know there could be a reason for that, but know that, we can still greet them, we can still welcome them, we can embrace them in our community and give them the opportunity to grow. And I know, we have all grown in, the Centers for Spiritual Living. I think we want to invite others to as well. We know we have the resources to keep keep our lives going very strongly, and we want to be able to share these resources with the world so that we'll live in a more resilient world. Everybody deserves to be treated with kindness, grace, and compassion as we walk one another home. So let's repeat this affirmation together two last times. I am gentle with myself and the world, knowing we are all healing together. I am gentle with myself and the world, knowing we are all healing together. So that's Trauma 101. It's a new way to act around trauma, to welcome it, to embrace it, to accept it. And now it's time for our prayer cards. On one side is the prayer demonstration, where you write down, think of some time a prayer had a positive impact on your life, and write that down, because doing that will make all of your prayers more powerful. And then on the other side, when you're looking for what to pray for, you can pray for yourself, you can pray for a need you have, you can do a prayer of gratitude, you can pray for the world, you can pray for somebody else. There's no end of what we can pray for, and the prayer cards go to the practitioners who lift them in prayer and further empower all your prayers with additional consciousness. And as we finish writing our prayers, I'm going to invite Steve and Kristi to come and give us more of their musical message.
How about that? I do have a faith. You can sing along on the chorus on this song if you have to listen to it a few times. It repeats quite a bit.
The lyrics are, everybody needs a little comfort now and then. Everybody needs a little love.
Everybody needs a little comfort now and then. Everybody needs a little love. Everybody needs to feel alright with things. It doesn't always happen, doesn't always go easy. Sometimes it goes sideways down a loaded road. Still everybody needs a little help now and then. Everybody needs a little love. You can feel alright, got a pretty good hand. You don't know what the dealer's gonna throw. One day you're sitting pretty and the money's rolling in. You think you got the cash, but you don't know. Everybody needs a little love. Everybody needs to feel alright with things. It doesn't always happen, doesn't always go easy. Sometimes it goes sideways down a long dirt road. Still everybody needs a little help now and then. Everybody needs a little love. You can see other people, those people see you. You don't know those other people know. They don't know you from Adam, you don't know them. You'll get to know them if you take it slow. Everybody needs a little comfort now and then. Everybody needs a little love. Everybody needs to feel alright with things. It doesn't always happen, doesn't always go easy. Sometimes it goes sideways down a long dirt road. Still everybody needs a little help now and then. Everybody needs a little love. It's a very nice spring, the planting's going well. You're hoping everything you planted grows. There could be a tornado or the river might flood, so you planted through the things that you can't know. Everybody needs a little comfort now and then. Everybody needs a little love. Everybody needs to feel alright with things. It doesn't always happen, doesn't always go easy. Sometimes it goes sideways down a long dirt road. Still everybody needs a little help now and then. Everybody needs a little love. Everybody needs a little comfort now and then. Everybody needs a little love.
Thank you all for inviting us.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was absolutely wonderful. All right. Well, now we were going to our offering part of our service today. So just remember our center is supported by God, and we welcome you to be a part of how God's support shows up. If you're on Facebook, you can visit our website at genesiscsl.org, where you can text your tithe to the number shown on the screen. Let us take a moment to craft our financial gift. And we can hold our prayer request and our offering next to our heart as we say our offering blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am thankful. And now we'll go around and collect the offering as we sing together, very loudly, God is my source. There we go. Yep, let's get music. I'm feeling it. All right. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything open heart we receive these gifts, knowing the fruits come forth do powerful works. We bless the givers, knowing that as we give, we receive tenfold. In deep gratitude, we give thanks, and so it is. Thank you all for joining us today. You can all hang out and bless us all after service. Let's sing together and sing our closing song, I Release.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more trouble, no more strife. With my